Have you ever been praying about something for a long time? I mean, like really praying. You may be fasting along with it, but it seems like nothing is happening. All you're hearing is crickets. And it's not like you stop believing and you stop having faith and you stop showing up. You're still doing these things. But somewhere in the back of your head, you're wondering, is God hearing me? Did God go on vacation and not tell us? Has he retired? Is my prayer only getting to the ceiling and nowhere else? If you've ever felt like that, this video is for you. I think this area is one of the least talked about areas in faith. Like, I know we talk a lot about the breakthroughs and we talk about the blessings and we talk about the beauty of trusting God in the hard seasons, but I don't know if we talk enough about those seasons when we're praying and we're believing and we just feel stuck. Like life just feels paused, like nothing is happening. It's a hard season to be in. And so I want to share some of the very practical things that I do to walk myself through those seasons with the hope that it will be a blessing to you and it will help you walk through that season if you're in it now or if you've ever encountered it. The first thing I remind myself of is that because I don't see things changing doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Progress doesn't always look like movement. You don't always see it happening in real time. Think about applying for a job. When you apply for a job, you don't see them looking over your resume. You don't see them doing the shortlisting. You don't see them doing any of that, but it does mean that nothing is happening in the background. Think of the gym. Like when you just start out, you don't see that you're developing strength and the muscles. At some point later, you will see, but you don't just get up and you have muscles, right? And so maybe you've been praying to God and asking Him for direction, but you're just as unsure as before you asked Him. It feels like nothing is happening. The Bible talks a lot about seasons. I think it's in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 where it says, to everything there is a season. And so you might not see it happening, but you're in a season where things are happening in preparation for the next season. And I like talking a lot about seasons because seasons for me suggest or imply some kind of waiting happening. They imply that things are happening that you cannot rush. There's no way you can decide that spring is going to end before it's time. And I know that does make the waiting easier and the silence easier, but it does make it bearable and it does suggest that better welcome. The next thing is that waiting messes with your thoughts. And you start asking questions that you probably would never have asked before. And sometimes those questions are turned inward, like, am I good enough? Do I deserve this? Am I doing good enough? Did I misunderstand God? Why does it seem like everybody else is getting this thing? I want the family, but this person is getting it. Everybody's moving forward. They're getting the job and they're getting the opportunities. What about me? And the thing is that the longer we wait, the louder that those thoughts sometimes get. But if waiting has made you feel uncertain or that you're tired, I want you to know that it doesn't mean that your faith is weak. It just means that you're human and God understands and He will meet you there. Number 3 is that I don't have to turn waiting into a Fix-It project. When things feel stuck, most of us try to fix them, right? Maybe I need to pray harder. Maybe I need to be more disciplined. Maybe I need to do this, or maybe I need to do that. And so it becomes about us and what we can do. And what that thing does is that it can consume us to the point where we get distracted and we get discouraged because now I'm relying on me and I don't have it. On the face of it, none of it is bad to recognize a problem and want to fix that problem. But I find that sometimes that knee-jerk reaction to fix it comes from a place of panic and not because we trust God. The truth of the matter is that sometimes God isn't asking us to do more. I know there are times when He's asking us to do that, but sometimes He's just asking you to stay in position. He's asking you to stand still and watch his glory. And so sometimes waiting is not always a problem that we need to solve. Sometimes it's just a season that we need to live through, because there are lessons tied to that season that's going to take us over to the next season. The next thing I remind myself of is that showing up still matters. Just because I don't see results now, just because you don't see the results now, it doesn't mean that what you do doesn't matter. So it means still praying, even when you're not sure your prayer is reaching further than the ceiling. Still pray. It means still trusting, even though you're not sure, but trust anyway. You're going to choose not to give up when giving up seems like the only option. You're still going to be trusting God to take you through, and that there's greater purpose attached to this waiting season. I think it's in Galatians 6 verse 9 where it says that we're not to be weary in well doing, because in due season we shall reap if we do not faint. So the verse doesn't say if the season changes, the verse says when the season changes. And there is some kind of hope in that, because it means that winter will turn to summer and summer will turn to spring. Waiting isn't wasted, because it's saying you will reap. So that means there's a harvest attached to it. There's blessing attached to your waiting. And so whatever you do or you need to do, still do it, because those things matter. Give yourself permission to acknowledge that this season that you're going through, it is hard. You do not have to pretend that it's easy. You do not owe that to anybody. If you read throughout the Bible, like even in the Psalms, you'll see people constantly asking God, how long, God, shall I this? Or where are you? And why does this feel so heavy? For example, in Psalm 13 and verse 1, it says, how long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? This is the psalmist acknowledging that what I'm going through is hard. It's heavy. He says, Lord, how long will you forget me? Are you going to forget me forever? Are you going to continue to hide your face from me? And that is real and honest faith. Because sometimes I feel like we want our faith to be too polished. And no, you can believe in God and still feel frustrated. You can trust God and still feel tired. You can still trust and love God, but still have your doubts and still have your fear. Both things can be true at the same time, where you are faithful and you are tired. You can be faithful and frustrated, and it's okay to admit that. God is not going to judge you for that, because he knows that you're human, and he makes preparation for that season of your life, or those seasons of your life when you have your questions and you have your doubts and you're tired. So if you're in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, I want you to hear this from my heart through yours. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, and nothing, absolutely nothing is wrong with you. Even when it feels slow, when it feels like God is silent, I want you to know that he is still working. If this video helped you any at all, I'd love for you to subscribe. If you want more videos like this, let me know. And then check out the other videos that I've done so far, and hopefully they too will be of benefit to you. Share, comment. You don't have to give me the details, but if you're in a season now where you're doubting, let us know. We can pray for you. We can pray together, because iron sharpens iron. This faith journey is not a singular or an individualistic journey. It's a community of believers coming together to strengthen each other through the different seasons. So if that's the season you find yourself in, know that seasons change. Until next time, guys.